What's up, Calvary students? We're back with another 5-minute devotion. We're going to be going on to the theme of Christmas and the Christmas story. Before we get into that, I was right last week. Oklahoma State beat OU, and now OSU plays Baylor tomorrow for the World Championship, but that's not relevant. I hope you guys are here tonight as we have our OU sweater party, and we will have a little bit of a Dirty Santa game. And we'll also be wearing ugly sweaters. So wear your ugly sweater. That's one of my favorite parts of Christmas. But what's most important about Christmas is who Christmas is about. And it's about the story of our Savior coming down to earth. We're going to be in Matthew chapter 1. Verses 1 through 17. It's a lot to read. This is the part that I used to just think was boring. But there's a lot that we can see from it. And it's very interesting. It's the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew's account. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, and Judah the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar, and Perez the father of Hezron, and Hezron the father of Ram, and Ram the father of, and bear with me, I didn't try and read and pronounce these ahead as I should have. Aminadab, and Aminadab the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salem, and Salem the father of Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz the father of Obed by Ruth, and Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David the king, and David was the father of Solomon by the wife Uriah, and Solomon the father of Rehoboam, and Rehoboam the father of Abijah, the father of Asaph, and Asaph the father of Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, and Joram the father of Uzziah, and Uzziah the father of Jotham, and Jotham the father of Ahaz, and Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, and Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, and Manasseh the father of Amos, and Amos the father of Josiah, and Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon. And after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel the father of Abiud, and Abiud the father of Eliakim, and Eliakim the father of Azar, and Azar the father of Zadok, and Zadok the father of Akim, and Akim the father of Elid, and Elid the father of Eleazar, and Eleazar the father of Matan, and Matan the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born. So the generations from Abraham to David were 14 generations, and from David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, and from the deportation to Babylon to the Christ, 14 generations. Now, that was a lot of reading, a lot of names, and you might have even gotten a little bit bored, but here's why it's important. First, it should be noted that it is impressive, and this was typical in Jewish times at the time, to be able to present your heritage to prove that you were a full-blood Jew, or that you have Jewish heritage. I can't trace my family tree back off the top of my head, but to my great-great-grandpa on my grandpa's side. And we just traced back 14 times 3 generations. 42 generations. Sorry that took so long for me to process. On to Jesus. And it opens up saying he's the son of David. And it proves that he's the son of David. And that's important because it's saying he's the rightful heir to the throne of Israel. He is the actual king of Israel. He's from the bloodline of David. And he's also the son of Abraham, showing that he connects to the father of Israel. He's a Jew. He's an Israelite. And the third thing that's key that we see is the highlights of women in his genealogy. And it doesn't use the popular matriarchs of the country of Israel that you might think of Sarah, Rebecca, or Rachel. Rather, it highlights some women. It was Rahab, Tamar, and others who would be more associated with the moral failures that Israel had, whether it was being a non-Israelite woman or some kind of affairs that have happened. And so it also proves that God uses people who are not perfect to move his plan along. So I would encourage you guys, the next time that you read the genealogy of Jesus, or genealogies in general, to have a different perspective on them and see the significance of them, especially Jesus's. I know whenever I was a kid on Christmas Eve, we would read the Christmas story, and that was always the part that I was just kind of like, oh, we gotta try and get through all of these names, and they aren't easy to read, but there is a lot of significance through them. So when you study this on your own, or whenever you're reading this on your own, think of the importance of the genealogy of Jesus. It's not just names, but it's proof that three things, that there's more than just three, but the third I want to highlight is that Jesus is the heir to the throne of Israel. He's from the line of David. He is from the family of Abraham, meaning that he connects directly to the father of Israel, where God promises Abraham that all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him, and that's through Jesus. And the highlights of women, and that is important because genealogies wouldn't do that. But not only does it highlight women, but it also highlights women who are not perfect, to show that God's plan, which everybody who in there was not perfect, but the way that these children came through the women were through, whether it was a non-Israelite or an affair or something like that, that it's showing God uses imperfect people to move his plan. So hope to see you guys tonight, and if not tonight, then on Sunday. Have a great rest of your weekend. I hope that you root for the Pokes as they beat Baylor, and I will see you in a couple of hours.